Sorry about that. Oh, Mark, I guess we don't get the video yet.
That's okay.
See if I can old school it. But you want to just go ahead and introduce yourself, Mark, and for those of you that don't know him, give a little background.
Yeah, I'm Mark Hanna, live up in Joyce, Iowa. Farm with my two sons, Andrew and Philip. We have a corn soybean operation. Philip has a wean to finish hog operation. And I guess I've been at it 45 years. Didn't know when I set up to do my application for top producer, looking back 45 years, was quite a challenge, and then brought up a lot of memories that I had really forgotten, and kind of put it all in perspective when I finally got it on paper. And hopefully it it's like farming all the time. It's ups and downs, and you just kind of push through what things that your challenges that you have. So been a few of those, but then there's been a lot of good times too, where we advance and have success and expand the operation, and just keep ahead of the game as far as technologies. I do enjoy that. I think I really said it in the video that that's kind of a big part of my life right now is enjoying to work with startups through Ag Launch and Ag Ventures, and the Farmer LLC. Really like promoting and being a part of that. So
I know I bumped into you the first time. I believe it was 2019 in Indianapolis, wasn't it?
yep.
And I knew right then and there we were building something special, I guess. And I talked to Pete quite a bit yesterday, and the one thing I keep going back to, this whole thing we're building, the 6 farmers that were at that meeting are still all involved in the Ag Launch 365 deal and all that, very in depth. And I mean, that's one thing I want you younger guys, if you newer guys on here, if you got questions about it, give us a call. I mean, I think it's starting to build pretty good momentum. And next week is the LLC meeting in Memphis, and I think there will be some pretty good things coming out of that. Some of you guys will be brought up to speed on shortly after. March 25th, if you haven't got the invite yet, please RSVP for that. That'll be our night before the annual meeting, founder meeting. I think we've got something pretty good lined up there. But kind of the question I had for Mark yet is tell us a little more about the week and highlights, lowlights. Did you get to meet Secretary Rollins?
I didn't get to personally meet her. She was in. It was pretty tight, quick, scripted setup. Questions were though taken from the floor, just random ones. So she did help try to answer some of those. I was pretty impressed with her just complete knowledge, and already kind of hitting the ground running with her job, even though that was, I think, the second day of her job after her appointment. But I think there's going to be some good things. Did connect with Jimmy Emmons. That was a good conversation. I think he's going to be very good on that committee that he's going to be on. I told him, I said I wanted to have a direct line with him and throw ideas at him, and he thought that was a good idea too. But the event was very it's a professional operation. All the farmers that I met there are top notch, very engaging, and just really great to talk to.
Yep.
Even the 3 of us finalists, we spent the morning before visiting a little bit, getting to know each other and their operations, and afterwards, especially on Wednesday, we did we did a talk radio segment with Chip Floyd, and we all three were on the line. I don't know if you've heard that or if there's a recording or anything. Look back
Yeah,
if you can
I'm
find it.
assuming they'll have something out, and I'll try to find that. If I find it, I'll try to link it somewhere.
I think between the three of us, um, talking about Chip had some questions for us all, and we kind of went through it. I think that gave a really good overview of of how great those other two candidates were, and we all three were. We all have our story, and it was just really good to be. I felt honored to be a part of that group, and the night was very fun. It was almost like a party type atmosphere, but serious, and everybody was very gracious and um, very professional. So that just sticks in my mind. The whole Marby and their whole organization uh, knew exactly how to do this, and was great. We did have a alumni supper the first night that they invited us to come, and got to meet a lot of very very good past winners and participants. So that's something I'll get to go to now if I want to the rest of from here on out, which I think it's going to be in Nashville next year.
Yep.
So uh, I'm seriously considering just going to that for at least a year or two, because
Well, that's
made a lot of new friends.
National No-Till Conference. I get to go to the Innovator Supper every year, and I'll go just for that. I
Yeah,
mean, some of the knowledge and history in that whole group, and the integrity of the people that are usually in that group is just phenomenal. This past year, just getting to be a lot of gray hair in that meeting, but there's a few of us younger guys get a sneak in there now, and always kind of neat to see the people come in there their first time and just see the history and stuff like that. But
yeah. The Another real good highlight, which was kind of ironic, that uh, we had the 8 startups that we picked
yep,
to do presentations. Margaret and Sarah were there. It was so great to see them and interact with them, and see. I went around and spent some time with all 8 of the cohorts, and got to got to know a little more, and gave them some encouragement, and said, we're here to help you however we can. And I think that was a good. It was good to just get around and touch base with everybody, and but that made it even all more special with um, some of my things I enjoy to do now was
yep.
right there to see it right there, and was able to interact with them, and made it all even more meaningful. So
If I go through the list, are you prepared to kind of give us off the cuff feedback on each one of the companies?
yeah, as long as you make sure you tell me what it's about.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've been
I,
in this position
I
enough times. That's what I said. If I tell you the company and what they're about,
yeah.
we'll start with BOPA, and I'll get my notes on each one. So the BOPA is the robot, in-row robot.
Yeah. Her name, what's her name, the founder?
Sarah Hinckley.
Sarah Hinckley, yes. Yeah, I spent some time with her, and she was juggling her 2 little girls at the time. Did a great job of going through the robot and juggling her 2 little daughters.
Yep.
I think she's got a real niche market in more specialty crops than row crop, but she's really adapted new uh, tools that she puts on this machine that does different between rows, or just up and down the rows like a cultivator would. And
Yep.
I mean, it's amazing how that thing is set up where she's still improving on it. I mean, it's not done yet, but she's very does a very good job of describing what she has and how it works, and uh, I thought it was very good, and she did a great job. She's very coachable for sure.
Okay, K-Lakes would be Wenby or somebody like that. That would be the quick PCR tester for detecting disease.
Yeah, that was the quick hour
Yep.
test, I believe, on the farm is what
Yeah, they're going to start with mastitis and testing. I think they'll be able to tell if a cow's pregnant and everything with the qPCR.
yeah. No, they're when we did the first interviews with her, it impressed me with my experience with raising hogs and diseases, and waiting a week or two, week to find out what you really had, and then by the time you treat them, you got death loss that's huge, or you got your disease out of control in the operation. So that was impressed me the most. And she's very on to in tune with helping with taking our criticism and what we can do. I thought the whole technology would be great for veterinarians to carry around in their truck with a load of antibiotics that they might need just to treat,
Yep.
and be able to take a sample in an hour, so prescribe, identify it, prescribe what they need, pull it out of the truck, set up the medicators or whatever within a couple hours and start treating. And that's probably one of the most, uh, if we can get, I think she wants to get in front of some veterinarian groups. She
Yeah.
was looking to do that. And I said, that's a great place to really focus, to get them on board, and I see good potential from that one.
Yep. And I guess I keep going back to, it's going to be priced affordable where the farmer even might be able to afford to have it right on staff there. And
Yeah, if you're a big enough farmer, you can just have your own machine.
yeah. And or get, like I said, get the vet to have one, and then several farmers work together with the vet. So
Right.
Alicia, or was Alicia there? The British bug
Yes.
biome. Was it Alicia
Yep.
there or Cindy Maya?
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
Okay. Bug biome is a technology where they're actually learning with AI, learning to tell the efficacy of the effectiveness of insecticides and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
they're working on their own insecticides, but the technology they're working on will help almost any company, so they almost have two go-to-market strategies, if you want to give your impression of her.
Yeah, she's very coachable, willing to take ideas and change a little bit or tweak her um, way that she's going to do some research and studying. But she's from the UK. I think she's been over here 2 3 times. Um, Willing to come over here and really learn from. She just wants to learn from farmers. And I know when we first interviewed her, we kind of threw out that aphid in soybeans was a big deal for us, and
Yep.
she jumped right on that the next day, and did a bunch of research, and kind of was able to focus on that as an important thing that could help ramp her up in the future. So the technology, and their technology is get away from pesticides.
Yep.
That's a big push. Everybody's happy to say, hey, we're going to use less pesticides. Then, oh yeah, you got to use more. So the regulation and registrations with that, shouldn't be as stringent if it was a pesticide or a chemical. So I think she's going to be the driver to her company, and I think she's got the push.
Well, and I remember, it's been interesting to watch as we went through the process. I mean, they're 6 hours ahead, so the 2 o'clock in the afternoon meeting is 8 o'clock there in the evening.
Yeah.
But they make everyone, or one of their team is on every call that we've done with them. So
Right.
in India with mycologics, biofungicide.
Yeah, he's a very, very teachable uh, individual. Also, he's got. I think he's got a great product.
Yeah.
And there again, it's we're not getting into chemicals anymore.
Yep.
So I
Yeah.
was impressed with him.
I think he's going to be CRO, but I think we'll probably get him for trials next year. I believe is
I think
the
so.
plan. So, which Jack with Micro MGX is a basically a biological Roundup. Actually,
Yeah,
onion extract, but
onion,
little.
rotten onion extract that they've pulled out and found a bacteria that will kill water hemp, Palmer amaranth, right?
Yep.
All those tough weeds that everybody that has total resistance now basically to our chemical profile, and it perked my ears up the first time I heard that when I saw his first presentation. I said, "Wow, this is going to be something if it can get there." And the using it as a burn down, possibly. There's all kinds of ways that you could just use this rather than killing those tough weeds that we can't get. But yet again, there it is. It's not a chemical.
Yep. Yeah,
It's
and I mean, what I like is there's three distinct go to markets for him. You have the burn down option. He's got a GMO option where it'd be much like Roundup Ready corn, and then a big thing down south that, and you're starting to hear more and more people talk about it here, is defoliating your soybeans and stuff like that. So
yeah,
that's I spent a lot of this past week looking into that and helping them learn the terminology in that. So pulling from our network is helping. We got a guy in Mississippi does 9,000 acres of beans a year with the gramoxone right now, and they spray it, and 14 days later they're harvesting beans. But as we're learning, you could actually shorten that up to about a week probably if it
yeah.
works. And
You
we're
know, yeah. Up here we don't see too much of that, defoliation and spray, but it's a huge part of a big part of the country. So there's a
yeah,
market for that.
like down south there it's 95 degrees, and if they get a rainstorm they can lose the whole crop.
Hmm.
And if them beans are just in the wrong stage. But like I said, I know southern Iowa and that there's a lot of guys starting to look at it. To me it's an extra expense, extra pass, but as we start pushing the maturity on these beans and that, especially if you can do it with biological, then it's not quite like spraying paraquat or gramoxone on your beans and having the extra chemical load and that. So
Yeah, I think
oh,
Jack and the company have a really, really disciplined way to get this to the end, and they're not rushing it. That's for sure. So
yeah, well, and that's one of the things I wanted to see is Jack's military background, and that really comes out when you're working with him, and you can tell everything is very segmented and regimented with him. So,
exactly.
Hortense, was she there? The peanut
Yeah.
engaged in the peanut
Yep.
allergy.
US. Yeah. That's an exciting technology with dealing with allergies with peanuts, and her approach is she's going to do some lab testing with some genetic. She doesn't have very much to begin with now this first year as far as seed wise, uh, and going to ramp up then for next year. But like, uh, it's going to be a long haul, but I think the outcome to help alleviate or eliminate that peanut allergy fear that if you have it, it can be deadly. So it's not
Yes.
nothing to fool around with, but very uh, futuristic technology, I think.
Yeah, and this is all coming through CRISPR, where gene edit. It's not gene editing, but it's gene deleting. I think is what they do. They just go in and cut off one gene or something like that, and but there
I know.
again, if we can help her get to the field and get the testing and production, I've told everybody all along that's the one I call our moonshot this year. So
Yeah, it's way above my head in technology, so I just rely on those professionals to figure it out.
Then we got Michael Ray's with Barnwell Bio. They actually came up through COVID testing sewage streams out of cities, and they could monitor COVID and give predictions on COVID. Well, now they've figured out how to take that same technology into manure streams in livestock, like with bird flu and that. They'll be able to monitor and tell you if you got infections or diseases coming in your flock or herd of cattle.
Yeah, they said they've been really busy with this bird flu, um, uh, front and center in the news, and destroying chickens, and how do we stop this thing? Very similar to Calyx. They have a test. They basically aren't really working with a hog operation now, but they're mainly in chickens, turkeys, and then dairy, where you walk through with your boots and take a sample off of your boot, try to get just kind of a random sample to test, and then to see what actually is going on in your herd. It's kind of like I think when you get set up long term, I believe it's like once a week you walk through and pull a sample of the manure in there.
Yep.
And test, and then kind of build a preventative program overall. So that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, and what I'm looking forward to on that one is if we can eventually tie it in with like poultry patrol or something, where you already have the robot or something running around in the flock and pulling the samples. I think that's got great potential. I think the last one we have then is Spencer Maycraft with Rogue AI, the heavy lift drone.
You know,
the fan favorite in Kansas
yeah,
City. Remember
it was they at the end of their presentations, then they sent out Q code out for us to vote on, and it won the contest. I can't say enough of this. I think this is going to be the future. I just love the idea of the gasoline / electric, gasoline running 100-gallon payload, halfway through the spray process. He's putting on what, 2 gallons? It's
2 gallons an acre is what they're going to be.
an acre, 50 acres of spray, and as that thing is halfway through its spray cycle, it's starting to charge up the battery pack in there that runs electronics. And by the time he's flying back empty to refill, the batteries are fully charged for the next trip. Potential 1,000 acres a day. More of a commercial type elevator, big farmer sprayer. I think just throwing around some rough numbers, they were talking about 350K maybe to start with. He did tell me, I told him when we were working with him at the first interviews we did with him, I says, I really love this, but I said, I want you to make me one that's half as big. And yesterday I told him that again, and he remembered it, and he says, well, we're working on a 60-gallon one right now.
Yep.
So it'll be
that's the one they'll have out first this spring, I believe.
Is it the 60?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, they've got one that they're testing and flying already in April. I believe the plan is right now by April, we're supposed to be in the field.
Okay.
With that one. And then I think the 100-gallon is supposed to be built by August.
Okay.
I got to ask though, I see he had a QR code. Did he actually have his website up and running yet?
I don't know. He doesn't have it up and running yet?
Well, last I knew, he didn't have the web. He's so focused on getting the company going and getting product. I mean, he's been one of those refreshing ones to work with, building the SOW and all that. I mean, he's solely focused on getting hours on the machine, and I think we're going to have a very heavy influence helping him get up and going, and that's the one I'm looking forward to the most. And
yeah, I am too. We're looking forward to do some trials, so that would be good. Yeah,
because I mean, we're gonna hopefully have him. I think the plan is like 3-4 days in northern Iowa, or 3-4 times here in Iowa, and then a couple times down in Tennessee the same way. But then we've actually got a farmer not too far from where he's at that he'll be able to fly almost every day of the year this coming summer. With his hay acres and that, he'll have open fields and
yeah.
we're working with them. That's one of those companies we helped already, realizing, we don't need standing corn for him to be testing on.
No.
My first question is, what are you going to do if you wait till standing corn and have one go down in standing corn? And he's like, never thought of that.
Mhm.
But getting him to realize we can be flying, soon as, well, actually we can be flying over snow even. As soon as they're ready, we can be flying, but they want to be applying products. So hopefully the ground thing will be above temperature. But I think that's the 8 companies. Any questions from everybody in the crowd? Just feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions. Everybody's shy this morning, so.
I'm not shy, Lauren. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're loud and clear.
Hey, good morning. I'm driving, so I'm not on video. The company that's working with the onion extract, any additional perspective on what their future may or may not be? Just looking back the last 10 or 15 years, there's been a number of different companies I've seen that have discovered extracts or things that can be found in the food supply and potentially use it for weed control, disease control, pest control. And I think every one of them I've seen has failed. So I'm curious, any additional perspectives on commercialization or anything on the onion extract?
Well, they're gonna have a trail. They've got to go through CRO work, which is the trials and all that. Commercial CROs, commercial registered operation or something like that. So they're high dollar isolated trials, and then crop destruct and all that stuff. So hopefully we're helping them through that process this year. And from what I understand, we should have product to trial next year. And I know it's a fermented, heavy on fermentation. Getting the cost down on that's going to be the critical part. Learning how to use it. Right now it's a lab product, so very early stage is what we're at with them. So I'm right there with you, though. I've paid dearly for some of them biological products, but that's the biggest thing I've learned the past year is the water quality, and that is going to be critical when the guy starts using them. So that's why I've been on the side. I've been trying to watch out for water treatment stuff and that. So when we do get to trial some of these newer biologicals, I think that's going to be a big part of the success of them.
Got it. Thank you.
Morning, Adam.
Morning.
I just saw you jumped on there. Any quick questions for Mark? Or
No, it's super interesting. I'm just kind of trying to listen. I'm actually stuck at home this morning. I got a sick kid, so kind of in and out of this meeting, but
yep.
You wouldn't want to trade with me.
Yeah, no, we got grandkids here already this morning. She's got run them up to school here, and the littlest one's got to go to the doctor and all that good stuff too. So I know where you're at. There seems to be a lot going around right now. So, but any questions for Mark? Or like I said, we've got the March 25th. Get on your calendar if you can. Please get RSVP'd for that meeting. And we've got Dan Schultz is Ag Done Different. He's going to be working with the founders, but then we're going to keep him on marketing strategies with him and Keith Burns at the farmer founder session of the meeting. I hope there's plenty of value in it for you guys. And Schaefer, your meeting come together because Keith's going from our meeting to yours afterwards. Do we need to help you with anything on that?
I don't think so. I think there's a Zoom meeting today with Keith to kind of finalize things, but yeah, he's on the boat.
Yep. Alrighty. Yeah, we had our Zoom with him. I believe it was Wednesday, and kind of got things dialed in for this meeting. And like I said, if you haven't listened to Dan Schultz yet, I've been following him a couple months now, and I tell everybody it's kind of back when I was business schools and that go to business classes, and business is business. You can learn something from everybody like that. And as we start thinking about how we can sell our products just a little different than that, when we first decided to have him in as part of the farmer meeting, I'm like, well, this, everybody's going to think marketing. We're going to talk about selling bushels of corn and beans. This will be kind of the next step above that for you guys. So be thinking of good questions there for him. And things coming up here. Everybody,
In the meeting,
go ahead, Shaver. Or who was that?
Mark.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, to the day after the 28th of March, was it?
25th is the farmer
25th.
fighter meeting. 26th is the annual meeting for Ag.
Annual meeting, yep. Ag Ventures is gonna be at the Surf Ballroom in Clear Lake again.
Yep.
And I hope everybody can when they get their notices, send them back in and try to make it, because it'll be a fun event. It was last year.
Well, I think we're trying to build it where it's worthwhile doing the overnight for those of you that travel a ways. And like I said, that last year was our first one. We kind of learned a few things that we didn't do right on the night before, so hopefully we fixed a few of them. But anybody knows us. If you don't like something you see, tell us, and we'll try to learn from it and keep building something better for you guys. And Nate, see you jumped on there. Any updates from your area? If you're in a spot you can talk. If not, give me a call sometime, Jordan.
There. I couldn't get it unmuted.
Good morning.
Morning, everybody. Congrats, Mark.
Hey, thank you. How are you today?
Oh, we're hoping it just keeps getting warmer here.
Yeah, you aren't calving yet, are you?
Yeah, we had 5 of them Monday night.
Oh boy.
I think I've had close to 10 or 12 this week.
Going okay? You got your building, I'm sure, you got them inside, right?
Yeah, we got them in the hoop building, and then we built a little makeshift hot house deal. I can run a NIPCO and at least get them up to 40, 50 degrees in there. That kerosene isn't cheap though, Mark.
No, no, but you know what? You just got to look away from that, because you're saving those expensive calves. So I would say that's a minor expense, and just don't get your hay or your straw on fire.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a little nerve wracking. But no, what were you wondering, Lauren? Sorry.
M Genesis, you get time sometime. If I told Jordan, if you want me to help work up that SOW and that, let me know. And we're going to try to help support that however we can. So
Yeah, your dad was talking at the board meeting about you're going to do some embryo stuff this summer. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me. I guess the basically the long and short of it is they've done a whole bunch of the fresh embryo testing, but they've never done any post-thaw test. So they're going to do all of that. We're going to do probably 50 eggs with them. And then we'll have to preg check them and get them the results, but it sounds like it's cost free. And I got Collison Veterinary Clinic down in Rockwell City. We had a call with Kara, and I believe his name was Roger. There's another vet out in Colorado. They're real interested in it. Sounds like they might even invest in it themselves. So.
Great.
Yeah.
That'll be a good experience, and the weather will be nicer too.
Right. And the interesting thing, the other interesting thing, I guess, the vet that I called about it, Collison was not that, he was pretty skeptical about it, I guess. And then we had a half-hour meeting, and he went from that to, I'm actually probably going to use this. And he's pretty excited about it too. So slowly but surely.
Another quick question. Have you done your one-on-one with Rise Bio yet?
No, I was going to get on the meeting Wednesday at 2:00, and I pulled it up and it was a week prior. So.
Oh, okay. Well, if I need to.
Or no, it's Monday. Excuse me.
Yeah.
My one-on-one is Monday with them, but I missed a Rise Bio meeting last Wednesday, I think, with everybody.
Yep. Well, but your one-on-one's more what I'm worried about. I want to make sure they haven't quite been sending out the invites, and then they forget to show up on a few of them themselves. So if I need to help remind them, let me know.
Do you want me to somehow, do you want me to just call you after this and I can figure
Yeah.
out?
Yeah, I've
Okay.
got 2 calls here later. I'll shoot you a message later on and we can touch base.
Okay.
But Schaefer, have you done yours one-on-one with them yet? I see if you're on yet.
No,
Okay.
it was set up and I screwed it up, so
Okay.
we got to reset it up.
Alrighty. And I sat in on Jacob's the other day, so I know he did his, and hopefully I think we're helping him learn a few things out of it. And like I said, I got 2 of them today. I know I got to sit in on if I get time. So
Lauren, would there be value in me sharing some of my Rise Bio perspectives after I had my review with them?
shoot, that's what this is about.
There we go. Well, good morning, everybody. I had my Rise Bio review on, I think it was Monday. We started off a little rocky because only a portion of the Rise Bio team actually showed up. So they've got some work to do with calendar management and being disciplined with how they interact with customers. So we started off a little rough. And then we went line by line through the entire 2-page report in what I would call a fairly academic manner. I invited to the call the company that is ironically a startup. They're a spin up out of Iowa State. They're based in Ames. The company that does all my they do all my zone designs for soil sampling and population management. I invited them to dial in, and they shared a number of questions back to Rise Bio that kind of stumped the Rise Bio folks. So it was kind of interesting there, seeing a startup to startup interaction. A couple other points that I shared with the Rise Bio team is number one, the so what. It's interesting, right? The Rise score that they give you, but they need to help coach people on, okay, you've got these data points. What is your next step? What is your outcome going to be? Other than, okay, this is interesting, because we don't need more interesting tests available to us that you can't necessarily drive outcomes from. The other thing I shared with them is that they need to figure out how they interact with your more traditional crop consultant, agronomist, your wet chemistry, soil sampling, so that way it's easier to figure out where they fit within the production system of the farm versus being this outlier test that you're not sure what to do with. And then the other thing that I shared with them is that they need to figure out how to consolidate their information so that it can be easily shared and understood by landlords, land managers, people that have a vested interest in the land but aren't actively operating the land. Their current report is very technical, very academic, takes them well over half an hour to talk through it line by line by line, and it is not realistic to be conducting reviews like that with landowners or land managers. And so that was a challenge I set forth to them, is they need to figure out how to scale the insights that they share, so that depending on who the audience is that they are talking to, the insights can be scaled appropriately so that they are still understood. And they admitted that they've never really thought about tailoring their message to different audiences. So I'd say once we got through the rocky start of them not managing their calendars and half the team not showing up, it was an interesting conversation, and I am looking forward to collaborating with them further here in 2025.
Yes.
So Lauren, appreciate the opportunity to dabble with them a little bit in 24, and we'll go from here.
Like I said, that's why I'm liking these one-on-ones because I think each one they're pulling a little more out, and that's the whole ideal of these trials. We're trying to help them learn, what's it like to actually work with farmers, and having the frankness that you had with them. I think that's why I can't wait to see how they are today, see what they've tweaked and changed. Because I was on one with them Wednesday, and that they're I told them there, I said, this is going to be a question I have for you, Jacob. The way they do their 2-page report, would it be better if they condense that all into 1 page so they're side by side?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If I had to venture to guess, 75% or greater of the farming community does not need nor want to go through the level of scientific technical detail that they took me through on Monday and take people through in their current report format. So even for the farmer, I do believe it needs to be compressed and consolidated a little bit.
Because the other question I had for you, have you had a follow-up with the other company that you had on the call? Was that?
Yeah, they sent me a couple text messages, Soil Surdem.
Yep.
They sent me a couple texts afterwards, and I need to grab time with them to debrief with them, because it'll be interesting to hear their perspectives. Also, being a startup, but a spin out of Iowa State.
Okay, and then have them if they're looking to push, get a hold of us on the ag launch side. I'm assuming about June is when the call for new companies will go out. So
perfect, thank you.
They sounds like they'd be, seeing them on that call, and that sounds like kind of something we'd like to see on the interview process for this year. And I know Mark well enough that get his attention. Like I said, they seemed very well. I like the way that whole meeting went, even for, as you said, it was a struggle at first, but I think in the end everybody learned something out of it, and that's how we help these companies. So
I just say, Jacob, thanks a lot for being right up front with them and tell it like it is. That's the only way to help get this thing either fixed or resolved. And instead of pussyfooting around, why your approach was just right. So thanks.
Well, I wanted everybody to hear that. So when you have your calls with these companies, this is how we help them. And being very, very frank and honest is what these companies need to hear. And I tell everybody that's the thing I've realized the last several months. Even when I'm out talking, something totally different, I've got very short and to the point with them, because I know cutting out the fluff is how we get results nowadays. So, but thank you for that. Any other final thoughts or questions? I think the current plan is I'll probably try to have somebody, I've got an idea for an agronomist the first Tuesday night of March. But then if you want, we can do this meeting next month, but we've got the farmer founder meeting. So I was kind of figuring that might be our next Friday call, I guess. We'll move that to whatever night the 25th is. But like I said, the link will be open, and if you want, I'll jump on. I haven't even looked that far ahead in March. But I'm not going to line up a company for that week, I guess is what I'm saying. We've been pushing the companies pretty hard here the last couple of weeks, and I figured this time I'd give them a break. But my plan is April will come back with companies as we lay out trials and that. I want to have each company throughout the summer here. So if you got any questions or comments, give me a holler in the meantime. Appreciate you, Mark, and congratulations again. I did send out the link to the video to everybody this morning before the meeting. So sorry the video didn't work, but it's a pretty good one. And any final thoughts or comments, Mark?
Yeah, thanks everyone for the support I've received. It's been humbling, and it was a experience that I'll never forget, being a part of the whole process. It was good, and I hope even if we don't do anything else, but have people learn from. Everybody knows farming is an up and down, but just times get tough, why do what you can control and not worry about things you can't. Focus on that in your operation. Do the best you can, and in things you can do that nobody else can control. Grab a hold of it and do the best you can. So.
Well, thank you for that, and thank you for everything you've done to get this company to where it's at. And like I said, I feel fortunate to go back to 2019. I didn't know what I was walking into, but it's been one of the best things I've been involved in, and it's helped me make who I am today. And
yeah, that was off live, our first live voting, basically. We
Yep.
were on the spot, we picked them, and they all did presentations, and we had to vote, and it was a little chaotic and crazy when we first did it there, but well, it's come a long way. So it's
I'll tell anybody this year, the process we had this year, it's long and it's drawn out, but I hope these companies that we worked with this year realize, and that's what I told them. I said, this is probably the smoothest I've seen it go since 2019. And the past 2 months, there's been 8-9 hour days easily, if not 15-hour days on Zooms working with these companies. But I think we've got them in a point. It's going to be fun to hear the feedback next week in Memphis. Like I said, Mark got the preview this week in KC already. I'm hoping I get the video. Margaret was trying to send the videos out last night. Like I said, I wanted to be in KC so bad, but for those of you that didn't know, I had a little blood clot scare, so I had to stay home. And things seem to be good. I get my other new knee a week from yesterday, so the 22nd and the 27th I'll be back in surgery. So see what we get done. So
good luck. Hope everything goes fine.
Well, safe travels to Memphis if I don't see you before then. And
yeah,
you too, Joe.
We'll see you in the Zoom with your medication next week. Okay.
We'll see how entertaining I am this. Well, it'll probably be about a week or two after that. I'll be on plenty of Zooms yet. And
make sure your gown.
Make sure your gown
is on. Make sure your gown is up and on. Okay.
I think that was probably one of the worst I was worried about is the one day when my Band-Aid started coming off the last time. I swear I had my camera and microphone off, and all of a sudden I could hear something. I was like, oh boy, I hope I did, but I think we were all right. So. But
that's good. Well,
all righty, we'll cut this one. Appreciate everybody.
See you guys.
Hopefully we'll see you March 25th. So
good day.
Thanks, everybody.